वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. We have been going through some really marvelous shlokas in this part of the Bhagavad Geetā. Sri Krishna, who in this 5th chapter spoke about how the pure self is utterly free of any action. He raises, in fact, a storm. All those who are attached to some sadhana, who are much into thinking of right and wrong, merit and sin, etc., are now bound to have a certain question. What is that question? If there is no action at all, we are the witness. Then what about taking decisions? What to do, what not to do, and so on. We are so steeped in that mindset. Always we think about what we did, what we may do, what we may not do, etc. Here, you and I have to pause and contemplate. Nobody says that there is nothing to be done. But this doing, good or bad, and receiving the corresponding results is a certain sphere, and that is not the ultimate truth. So presently, the couple of verses started right in the 14th. Na kartrutvam na karmani lokasya srijati prabhuhu na karma phala sanyogam svabhavastu pravartate. There is neither doership nor objects to be acquired through doing this or that. Then what is going on in the world? By using the word Swabhava, as Sri Shankaracharya interprets it, Sri Krishna means there is the avidya bhumi, there is the frame of reference of spiritual ignorance. And we saw in the last class, he further emphasizes it, that pure self, which is one with Brahman, the absolute reality, really is not into either taking the sin of anybody or the merit of anyone. Like a car is moving and the car has no destination. It's the driver who either goes to a happy destination or meets with an accident and suffers. The car has no particular direction. Or think of the fuel, petrol, diesel. That has no direction. The driver has to decide. Likewise, the ego in us is party to good and bad. And right now we are not talking about the ego. We are talking about that truth which is free from any trace of ego. Therefore, kasyachit papam na adatte, kasyachit sukritam punyam api na adatte. It's all avidya or ajnana bhumi. Ajnanena avrutam jnanam tena muhyanti jantavaha. And accordingly, Sri Krishna shifts the gear. There are a very few in this world in whom that ajnana is destroyed. What can we say about them? Lord Krishna heaps praise on them. Jnanena tu tad ajnanam yesham ashitam atmanaha. In those cases where that ajnana, ignorance, is destroyed by right seeing, which comes about through shravana, manana, nididhyasana. In their cases, that true vision, that liberating insight is like sunrise. That jnanam adityavat, like the sun, prakashayati, illumines that paramartha tattva. Beholding that paramartha tattva, they are ever free. That's what Mundakopanishad says, tasmin drishte paravare. And here in the 16th verse, Sri Krishna said, prakashayati tat param. This param is same as that paravara of the Mundaka mantra. And then, as I said, praising these people who have really made their life truly meaningful by gaining Brahmajnana, Sri Krishna says, they are role models for everyone else. They are shining examples for all spiritual seekers. If spiritual seekers draw from these examples of illumined souls, what happens to these seekers? Seekers rise and rise further on the spiritual scale. Tad buddhayaha, they discover true passion. Tad buddhayaha means their intellect, rather than getting stuck with many other topics of the world, gets into Brahma Chintana. Tad Atmanaha, they begin to appreciate how this reality of the Upanishads is their own pure self. Tad Nishtaha, they are so strongly anchored in that. Shankara does not mince words. Sarvani karmani sanyasya tasmin avasthanam yesham. You cannot have the cake and eat it too. So one cannot say, I will pursue some worldly goals, meanwhile I am going to practice Brahmanishta. If you are into Brahmanishta, then pursuing more wealth, name, fame, or trying to settle score with some enemy, etc. are out. Therefore, sarva karmani sanyasya. Sarva karmani sanyasya includes letting go of revenge, letting go of guilt, letting go of so many negative emotions. Tat parayanaha, knowing Brahmajnana as the param ayanam, the supreme ultimate goal of their life, they stay in the Atma. Kevala Atma Ratayaha. Rati means Ramana. They revel, they enjoy being just the pure self. I've said many times, this doesn't mean they will be idle. On the contrary, a lot of good actions take place at their hands. But how they see that is a different story. And as the common theme goes, while people with ignorance are reborn, about them it is said in the shloka, Gachanti apunaravritti. Punaravritti means return, apunaravritti. They are never born again. Thus, Sri Krishna earlier called those who believe in this phenomenal world to be real, he called them ajnanena avrataha, and now he is praising those Danis. And adding one more beautiful remark, he says, these illumined ones are equal in their understanding of a wide range of living beings, creatures, or objects also. Let's take up the 18th verse now. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shuni Chaiva Swapake Cha Pandita Samadarshinaha. A very famous shloka having its own poetic beauty in a range of living beings. On one extreme, there is a super sattvic Brahmana. Brahmana is mainly characterized by sattva. In today's world, there are a lot of people who call themselves Brahmins, but alas, they are so rajasic, many of them are so tamasic, many of them are not at all into Vedic studies, they are not into spiritual inquiry, they use whatever intelligence they have to earn more money, and for that they compromise with values. Therefore, such a shloka cannot come anywhere near them. In fact, this shloka is on such a high level, Panditaha Samadarshinaha. The illumined one is above all classification. But even as that illumined lady looks at a cultured priest, a cultured Vedic scholar, a cultured man or woman who is full of learning and even humility, that becomes one extreme case. Then in between, look at a cow. A cow elsewhere is called sattvic, but in this shloka, the cow represents rajasic living beings. Hasti, an elephant, represents a tamasic living being. So, Brahmanaha, sattvic, Gauhu, he is rajasic, Hasti, he is tamasic. Then other creatures like Shuni, Shwa means a dog. So towards a dog, towards some people who eat dog's meat. So these are representative words. The main message is they have equal vision, meaning they do not have any judgmentalism in them. Personally, they have nothing to take from any of these. Personally, though they don't owe anything to any of these. Therefore, there is such a stillness, as teachers like Eckhart Tolle have highlighted. Stillness speaks. Inside they are still, but outwardly they may be speaking, they may be doing any activity. So, Samadarshinaha is a wonderful expression. Let's see how Adi Shankara comments on this. Vidyacha vinayascha, vidya vinayau. Learning and tremendous humility. That humility is such great strength. When you are truly humble, no criticism can upset you. You hear somehow somebody made fun of you. Someone made some nasty comments about you, let's say. If you have Vinaya, the humility is marked by a great accommodative spirit. You think about it, and there may be a slight pain that somebody spoke like that, but without taking it to heart, letting that pain dissolve right away, you actually think about, is it true? What is what he said true? If true, I'll work on it. I'll behave better. If it is false, ignore it. But either way, I have no hatred towards that guy. That is how Vinaya expresses itself. Unfortunately, many people, in the name of Vinaya, cultivate just an external body language, always bending and saying, Madam, Sir, and inwardly they don't have modesty. Inwardly they are not humble. If they don't get what they were expecting from someone, they start boiling over it. If they get what they wanted, then they get greedy. They want more and more. Outwardly, their body language, the words they use, etc., may mislead anyone. Oh, how humble he is. But true humility is not so much about body language. Body language has its place. True humility is when you do not allow negative emotions to overpower you when people praise you or insult you. Adi Shankara says, Tabhyam Vidya Vinayabhyam Sampannaha. Vidya Vinaya Sampannaha. What is Vidya Vinaya together? One who has Vidya, the next sentence gives, is Vidwan. One who has Vinaya is Vinitaha. Vidwan cha Vinitascha yo Brahmanaha. Tasmin Brahmane Gavi Hastini Shunichaiva Swapake cha Panditaha Samadarshinaha. So, Vidya Vinaya Sampanna Uttama Samskaravan Brahmanaha Satvikaha. So, in modern times, reverse the syntax of the sentence. Whoever is full of wisdom, humility, and sattvic qualities is a Brahmana. He is, no matter from where he is born, where she went to school, and what kind of roles somehow came to her in life, all of them are sometimes because of certain factors. But how is her personality? How is his being? It is full of humility and learning. And then that person is Brahmana. That person is Sattvika. Then Madhyamayancha Rajasyam Gavi. Gauhu Gavo Gavaha. Ram Gavo Gaha. Gavi Gobhyam Gobihi. So Go Shabda in its Vibhakti becomes Gavi in the seventh case. Gava, Gavi is the seventh case, not third case. Gavi, because the seventh case represents the sense of towards. So towards a cow. Hasti, seventh case is Hastini. Hasti, Hastinau, Hastinaha. Hastinam, Hastinau, Hastinaha. Hastina, and it goes. Hastini, towards. Towards an elephant. What does an elephant represent? Gavi is Rajasyam, Gauhu Rajasi, and Sanskara Hina. You may say, but a cow is harmless. But the cow doesn't have learning. The cow doesn't have all those sanskaras which make that animal wise and intuitive and so on. After all, it has no sanskar. It has not been trained in the development of head and heart. But by nature, yes, it is harmless. Therefore, a cow is very much praised at other places. But here, calling a cow is called Rajasi. And then Atyantameva Kevala Tamase Hasti Adaucha. An elephant represents a tamasic being. Elephant also may have 100 good qualities otherwise. But in this context, inasmuch as it is rather inactive at a lot of times, it's not seen to be active leave alone being wise and intuitive and so on. It has a huge mass and much of the time it stays quiet too. Here and there moves. So, tamase asti adaucha. So, the winding up this commentary, Bhashyakara says, Satvadi gunaihi tat naischa, born of those sattva, rajas and tamas, sanskaraihi tata rajasaihi tata tamasaischa sanskaraihi atyantameva asprishtam. These panditas, here pandita doesn't mean any caste, pandita doesn't mean a Sanskrit pandit or Hindi pandit or Sangeet pandit. This word pandit is used at many places. Here pandita means Brahmajnani. Panda means the knowledge of Brahman. Panda asya asti iti panditaha. Panditaha samadarshinaha. So, what do they see? Ekam samam avikriyam brahma drashtum sheelam yesham te panditaha. So we must know the context. These illumined ones are way above the domain of karma and karma phala, sukrita and papa. They are able to behold that truth where nothing rises, nothing subsides, nothing happens. So no wonder Adi Shankara, taking such verses into account, uncompromisingly calls Bhagavad Geetā a text of Advaita Vedanta. Brahma alone is. Anything else is a mischief of the mind, including the mind itself. There comes about an erroneous perception in a manner of saying, though really nothing ever happens. If somebody says, if nothing ever has happened, then how are we suffering? The question is, we ask you, why are you suffering? See properly. And when he sees properly, the wonder of wonders is, when Samyak Darshana takes place, not only suffering ends, but the entity that was suffering also vanishes. So it's an extraordinary awakening where lock, stock and barrel, a whole error domain vanishes. If something had remained, say, I was ignorant, now I am illumined, now I am helping others to get enlightened, then the story would have been different. In enlightenment, actually, there are no others too. Therefore, when they asked Maharshi Ramana, will a man help the society, help others when he gets enlightened? His answer was, there are no others. That's where it is very mind-blowing. Do not take Advaita Vedanta very lightly and without understanding it, start criticizing it, etc. Get the outlook. You will be so fascinated. You will feel that this is how it has to be. Brahma alone is, nothing else ever is. If you are seeing anything else, there is an error domain. And the one who sees imperfections, part of that error. So that's why I said lock, stock and barrel. The snake vanishes and the rope becomes evident. Likewise, the world and I, who is suffering at the hands of the world, together are seen to be false. All of them together are the snake. When somebody sees a snake and then says, oh, now I understood, there's only rope. The change is only over there in the object which earlier was taken as the snake, now is understood to be the rope. But in Brahmajnana, the change is everything, both in object and subject. The one who is afraid vanishes along with fear or the feared object. Or in the case of temptation, somebody is tempted by X or Y. X or Y do not tempt him anymore, and he who was tempted before also has vanished. What remains is Satchidananda Brahma. Therefore it is said, Panditaha Samadarshinaha, and now in the next verse, Brahma is said to be Nirdosham. Let's see. Number 19. Ihaivatayirjita sargo yesham samye sthitam manaha nirdosham hi samam brahma tasmad brahmani te sthitah. So, Brahma is nirdosha, and those who have now Brahma Jnana also are nirdosha. Nirdosha means you cannot find any fault with them. They are free of all blemish. Otherwise, in a hasty understanding, people may think these Brahmajnanis have gone useless now. Brahmajnanis are of no use to the society and so on. Or Brahmajnani, by looking at all equally, is making a big mistake. He has to put people in their right places, etc. All that is misunderstanding of Vedanta. We have said umpteen times, on one hand, Brahmajnani sees all equally. On the other, common sense never leaves him. If it is a shoe, he wears it at the foot. He wears the shoes at his feet. If it's an ear ornament, he knows it has to go to the ears. Seeing things equally doesn't mean you put the earrings on the feet and the shoes on the ears. That is ridiculous. So, praising these illumined beings once more, Bhashyakara says, Ihaivatayirjita sargo yesham samye stitam manaha nirdosham hi samam brahma tasmad brahmani te sthitah. How wonderful. There are a few, even at this time in the world, who are so blessed, who have reached the pinnacle of spiritual wisdom. Taihi jitaha sargaha, not swarga, sargaha. Sargaha is srishti. Sargaha is creation. Sargaha is this whole sansara made of sattva, rajas and tamas. And this is a passive voice sentence. Yaeva sargaha jitaha. This creation is conquered, is won over by these wise people. Let's make it simple, putting into active voice. These people, illumined ones, have risen above the dualities and the plurality of this universe. How come this is possible for them? Their mind is now stationed, is well anchored, sthitam, samye, samata. Number of places, Sri Krishna uses the word sama. Just the previous verse said, Panditaha Samadarshinaha. Samya is the abstract noun of Sama. Samye yesha manaha sthitam taihi sargaha jitaha nirdosham hi samam brahma. Even as they behold Brahma, they are using the word behold as though it is away from them. Actually, they see how Brahma alone is, and they are no different from it. Nirdosham Brahma tasmad Brahmani te sthitaha. Therefore, they stay anchored in Shuddha Brahma. Thus, the Brahmajnanis are praised and especially described here as absolutely free of any blemish. Adi Shankara says, Ihaiva Jivadbhireva. They don't have to wait till their body drops. Jivadbhihi eva taihi samadarshibhihi panditaihi jitaha vashikritaha what? Sargaha srishti. Especially this business of being born again. Therefore, Bhashyakara follows that word sargaha with the word janma. Yesham samye sarvabhuteshu brahmani samabhave sthitam nischali bhutam mana antakarana. When the firebrand is rotating in a circle or in a figure of 8, you don't realize that there is only the tip of the firebrand. Other figures are magical. Other figures are an optic illusion. They do not really exist. Likewise, when the mind contemplates Brahma deeply, the mind becomes nischala. The firebrand stops and people see there is just tip, a tip of the firebrand. Here too, you go on looking for stability, peace, quietude in things of the world. You will never get them. It's like Mullah Nasruddin, I believe, sat once with a basket of green chilies and was tasting every one of them, one by one. When somebody asked him, what are you doing with these green chilies? Mullah said, I am trying to find one at least which is sweet like sugar or honey. Is that ever possible? Likewise, this Brahmajnani knows that this universe, this world, this phenomenal world doesn't hold any promise to him. And he thus anchors himself in Brahma. All those Vedanta students who say, I love Vedanta, but nowadays I have so many things to do, so many responsibilities. I don't get to contemplate on the Vedanta, are so, what shall I say, immature. Contemplation on Vedanta, it doesn't require length of time. Be clear about the Vedanta teaching and minute here and then a minute there, position yourself to see how the gain and loss of this world, rise and fall, success and failure, victory and defeat, all of them are a drop in the bucket. They are insignificant actually. Wanting to become somebody, wanting to reach somewhere, comparing with somebody and saying, I too should be like him. If possible, I should be more famous than him. I should be wealthier than him, etc. That is the foul play of the mind. So, nirdosham, yadyapi doshavatsu, swapakadishu mudaihi, taddoshaihi doshavadiva vibhavyate, tatapi taddoshaihi asprishtam, iti nirdosham, doshavarjitam hi asmat. So, Brahma, which is in the dog eater, which is in the Brahmana, which is in the cow, which is in the elephant, which is in all other forms of living beings. Brahma is in all of them, but asprishtam, it is untouched. Just as a very obese man stands before a mirror, his image is seen, reflected in the mirror, but his obesity, his huge number of pounds or kilograms doesn't affect the mirror. The mirror is reflecting and showing his image, but he comes in, stands for full 5 minutes before the mirror and moves on, the mirror doesn't break. Likewise, when you and I understand Brahma and anchor ourselves in Brahma, or anchoring takes place, it's not a willful act, then you will be dosha varjitam. Na api swaguna bheda binnam. Internally different qualities can be there sometimes in some other thing. But this Brahmajnani is stationed in Brahma. There is no swaguna, nirgunatvat, chaitanyasya nirgunatvat. This guna and dosha belong to Prakriti. Vakshati cha Bhagavan ichhadinam kshetra dharmatvam. The 13th chapter, Pitta, Dveshas, and so on, a long list is given. All of them are kshetra, the field that is known, not the knower of the field. Anaditva nirgunatva, another verse from the 13th chapter. Napi antyaha visheshaha atmano bhedakaha santi. Pratishariram tesham sattve pramana anupapatte. So, any descriptions do not hold good, because in every body, pratishariram, as you examine, as you inquire, as you go deeper, none of them is able to stand the test of pramana. Shruti pramana gives us the ability to rise above all these divisions. Ataha samam brahma ekancha tasmad brahmani eva te stitaha. They are therefore anchored in Brahma. Tasmad na dosha gandha matramapi tan sprishati. Not even an iota of any impurity can ever touch Brahma. And the mantra or the shloka said, Tasmad Brahmani te stitaha. Shankara adds eva, Brahmani eva stitaha. They are smart enough not to pursue any more matters of the world. Tasmad na go dosha. Then dehadi sangata atma darshana bhavat tesham. They do not see the I, Atma. Seeing the I is Atma Darshana. They do not see the I anymore in the body-mind complex. I have a body, but I am not the body. Is their understanding. Dehadi Sangata Atma Darshana Abhimana Vat Vishayam tu Tat Sutram Sama Asamabhyam Vishamasame Pujataha. So, quoting from other scriptures, Shankaracharya says, he looks at all equally. Iti puja vishayatva visheshana. He adores, he admires everything. So there is no division of good and bad anymore. Drishyate hi brahmavit, shadangavit, chaturvedavit, iti puja danadavu, guna vishesha sambandha karanam. So, when you honor someone, when you honor the Brahmajnani, you may call him. He knows the Vedas, he knows the Vedangas, and so on. But actually, his greatness is not in that scholarship. His greatness is knowing Brahma, which is free of any such description. Brahma tu sarva gunadosha sambandha vivarjitam ityataha brahmani te stitaha iti yuktam. And iti yuktam. It's most appropriate that they are stationed in Brahma, not in Rigveda, not in Yajurveda, not in Karma, not in Upasana. Iti puja adana, puja dana adau gune guna vishesha sambandha karanam brahma tu sarva guna dosha sambandha varjitam ityataha brahmani te stitaha iti yuktam. Karma vishayancha sama asamabhyam. So, idam tu sarva karma sannyasa vishayam prastutam. So, all these divisions equal, unequal, high, low, they are part of the domain of karma. Here it is sarva karma sannyasa. And earlier in this very chapter, 13th verse said, sarva karmani manasa sannyasaste sukham vashi, and so on. Therefore, Sri Krishna is very ably tying together different statements made earlier. In this way, these shlokas are extremely helpful to us to rise above the otherwise endless karma. What shall I do? What I should not do, etc. are actually the wrong questions for a Brahmajnani or the advanced sadhaka. There is nothing to do. So, no regrets, no pride. One day you work many hours, you feel proud about it and hope this is how my days should be in future too. That's one ignorance. Another day, somehow you could not do much work. You say, I wasted my day today and more onwards I will be careful. That is all the lower level. The Brahmajnani notices the body and mind were very active on one day. The body and mind were inactive in another way. The Brahmajnani says, what do they mean to me? What do I lose? What do I gain by the ups and downs of this personality? Thus, the Brahmajnani is described. We'll read one more verse for now, so we may not elaborate it much. Na prahrishyet priyam prapya, nodvijet prapya chapriyam, sthira buddhirasam mudaha, brahmavid brahmani stitaha. A truly wise person, na prahrishyet, does not rejoice, at least in his heart of hearts. Just to be with people, he may show great happiness, but otherwise, priyam prapya na prahrishyet. Because he knows, I am Brahman and I don't need to get anything. And apriyam prapya na udvijet. I am Brahma and I have nothing to lose. So this eagerness to win and fear of losing are all part of that avidya bhumi. And Brahmajnani, called here Brahmavita, Brahmani stitaha, stays in Brahma, sthira buddhi, of firm intellect, asammudaha. Sammuda means deluded. Asammudaha, no more deluded. All this delusion, all this maya is now history. The man had put them behind him. In this way, the shlokas are lot of good food for contemplation. Let us stop here and let me see if there are some questions. All right. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya.